The husband thinks he's the only one cheating, but his wife is hiding the exact same thing. Before we dive into the story, tell us where you're watching us from, and don't forget to subscribe to Tales by Freeze for more amazing stories. From the outside, Daniel and Vanessa looked like the picture of perfection. Daniel was a 34-year-old successful architect whose name was whispered with admiration in Lagos business circles. Vanessa was a graceful woman of 29, a fashion consultant who had built her own clientele from scratch. Together, they were the type of couple that made others believe in fairy tales. They lived in a beautifully furnished duplex in Lekki, complete with glass walls, Italian furniture, and a garden Vanessa filled with lilies. Their Instagram was flooded with vacation pictures, candlelit dinners, and affectionate captions that made their followers type "God when" in the comments. But what no one knew was this: behind the filters, the laughter, and the glowing smiles, their relationship had cracks invisible to the world but sharp enough to cut deep. It all began subtly, the way storms often start with a whisper. Daniel had been working late nights, often buried in projects that demanded his creativity. Vanessa, supportive as she was, stayed up for him sometimes, waiting with food on the dining table. But more often than not, she ate alone, staring at her phone, scrolling endlessly, her loneliness sinking deeper with each passing night. One evening, after Daniel cancelled another dinner plan because of urgent deadlines, Vanessa felt the ache of neglect. She dressed in a fitted emerald dress, looked at herself in the mirror, and wondered, when was the last time he even noticed me? That night, she went out with her best friend, Clara, to a high-end lounge. Clara, bold and outspoken, had warned her. Vanessa, men like Daniel, sometimes, they hide behind work. You better keep your eyes open. Too many women have been shocked after discovering their so-called perfect husbands. Vanessa had laughed it off then. But she remembered those words vividly when a stranger at the lounge, tall, charming, with an accent that hinted at time spent abroad, walked over and struck a conversation. His name was Adrian. He had a smile that could melt walls, and an energy that made Vanessa feel seen in a way she hadn't in months. It was innocent at first. Just conversations, laughter, and a spark she hadn't realized she missed. But sparks, once lit, have a way of burning down everything if not contained. Daniel wasn't blind to the changes. He noticed Vanessa's phone lighting up more often, the way she smiled at texts, and how she suddenly paid extra attention to her appearance even on casual outings. One evening, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Daniel glanced at it without meaning to. The name Adrian flashed across the screen, followed by a heart emoji. His chest tightened. He felt a rush of heat, anger, and confusion. But instead of confronting her immediately, he swallowed it. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe I'm overthinking. That night, he held her tighter in bed, but Vanessa shifted, mumbling she was tired. Daniel lay awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling the distance between them grow like a canyon. Meanwhile, Vanessa's bond with Adrian deepened. She told herself it was harmless, just a friend who listened. But late-night calls turned into secret meetups. The first time he touched her hand, she pulled away. The second time, she let it linger. By the third, she didn't resist when his lips found hers. It was betrayal wrapped in passion, and though guilt gnawed at her, the thrill silenced it. But Daniel wasn't innocent either. For months, he had been entertaining someone else, Sophia, a client who admired his work. Their relationship had started professionally, then gradually drifted into dangerous territory. Unlike Vanessa, Daniel justified it by telling himself it was just stress relief. He never thought of himself as unfaithful. I love my wife. This is just temporary, he told himself after every stolen moment with Sophia. Yet, the irony was cruel. While Vanessa thought she was the only betrayer, Daniel was already guilty of the same sin. Both of them lived under the same roof, smiling in public, holding hands at events, but hiding secrets that could shatter everything. Clara, ever sharp-eyed, was the first to sense the danger. She noticed Vanessa's evasiveness, the way she dodged questions about Daniel, the glow in her face whenever she mentioned Adrian. "Vanessa," Clara said one afternoon while they were shopping, "you're playing with fire. Adrian is trouble, and if Daniel finds out..." "Daniel doesn't even care anymore," Vanessa interrupted bitterly. "Do you know how many nights I've slept alone while he was working? I deserve to feel wanted." Clara sighed. "Maybe. But remember, secrets have a way of exploding. And when they do, it's never pretty." Vanessa brushed it off. She believed she could control it. She believed she was too careful. But guilt has a voice. It whispers in quiet moments, it screams in silence. And Daniel's silence grew heavier by the day. Vanessa tried to balance her double life, but cracks always revealed themselves. Adrian filled her with a rush of passion that Daniel had not stirred in months. Every stolen glance, every hidden touch made her heart race. But with passion came paranoia. She began locking her phone. She turned away when typing messages. She claimed sudden errands that never existed before. Daniel noticed every detail. He wasn't a fool. He had already seen Adrian's name, already pieced the puzzle together. But he remained silent, watching, waiting, calculating. A part of him wanted to confront her, demand answers, scream at the betrayal. Another part whispered, "Don't be a hypocrite. You're guilty too." Still, the weight of her secrecy gnawed at him. One evening, Daniel followed her. She had told him she was meeting Clara at a restaurant in Victoria Island. But instead of the familiar laughter she usually shared with Clara, he saw Vanessa stepping out of a quiet lounge, her arm brushing Adrian's. Her smile was radiant, too radiant to be innocent. Daniel's jaw clenched. He gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles whitened. In that moment, he knew the woman he loved was no longer his alone. But what Vanessa didn't know was that Daniel had secrets too. He had promised himself to end things with Sophia, but every time he tried, her magnetic pull drew him back. Sophia, with her elegance and ambition, made him feel powerful, desired. She whispered admiration into his ears, the kind Vanessa had stopped voicing. Two broken hearts, searching for what they had lost, found it in the wrong places. Clara could no longer keep quiet. One evening, she showed up at Vanessa's house unannounced. "Vanessa, this has gone too far," Clara said, pacing the living room. "You think Daniel won't find out? Men always find out. And when he does, it will not end well." Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. "Clara, I can't stop. Adrian makes me feel alive. Daniel is always busy, always distracted. Sometimes I wonder if he even loves me anymore." Clara shook her head. "You're chasing a fire that will burn you alive. Think of your marriage. Think of your future." But even as Clara spoke, Vanessa's phone buzzed. Adrian's message lit up the screen. "Can't stop thinking about you. Meet me tonight." Her heart leapt. She turned the phone over quickly, guilt written across her face. Clara saw it, sighed, and muttered, "You're lost already." Meanwhile, Daniel sat in his office, staring at his phone. Sophia had sent him a picture of herself in a sleek black dress, captioned, "Missing you tonight." He typed back, then deleted, then typed again. He wanted to cut ties, but he couldn't. The double life had wrapped its claws around him as tightly as it had Vanessa. The breaking point came on a Friday night. Vanessa had lied about attending a late-night fashion event. Daniel pretended to believe her, but he had already tracked her location with a small app he secretly installed weeks ago. When he saw her location pinned to a quiet hotel in Ikoyi, his chest burned. Rage, betrayal, and humiliation boiled inside him. He drove straight there. In room 204, Vanessa laughed as Adrian poured her a glass of wine. The air was filled with soft music and the glow of intimacy. Just as Adrian leaned in to kiss her, the door slammed open. Daniel stood there, his eyes wide, his fist clenched. The room froze. "Daniel," Vanessa's voice cracked, her wine glass slipping from her trembling hand. "So it's true," Daniel growled. His eyes darted between Vanessa and Adrian, the image burning into his soul. "All those nights, all those lies. You betrayed me." Adrian stepped forward cautiously. "Daniel, listen." "Shut up." Daniel roared, lunging at him. The two men collided, fists flying, shattering the fragile silence. Vanessa screamed, trying to pull them apart, but the fury of betrayal was too strong. Security rushed in and broke the fight. Daniel stormed out, blood on his lip, rage in his eyes. Vanessa followed him desperately into the parking lot. "Daniel, please," she cried. He turned to her, his face twisted in anguish. "Don't. Don't you dare touch me. You ruined everything. Everything." She collapsed onto her knees, sobbing as his car screeched away. For days, silence filled their home. Daniel avoided Vanessa, staying out late, barely speaking. When he did, his words were cold, sharp, cutting. But Vanessa wasn't the only one exposed. In his anger, Daniel turned back to Sophia for comfort. He needed someone to blame Vanessa for, someone to escape into. But Sophia was not content with being a secret anymore. One evening, Sophia showed up at the duplex uninvited. She rang the bell, and Vanessa opened the door. The world stopped. There stood a beautiful woman in a sleek dress, confidence radiating from her. She smiled coolly at Vanessa and said, "Hello. I'm Sophia. I believe we have a lot to talk about." Vanessa's jaw dropped. Rage filled her instantly as the truth struck her like a bullet. "Daniel," she screamed. "Who is this?" Daniel walked in, frozen, his face pale. Sophia smirked. "I'm the woman your husband's been seeing." Surprised. The room erupted. Vanessa's sobs turned into screams. "So all this time, you were no better than me. You made me feel guilty, you humiliated me, when you were doing the same thing." Daniel tried to speak, but Vanessa held a vase against the wall. "You disgust me," she spat. The illusion of their marriage shattered completely that night. Two cheaters, exposed, stripped of lies, left to face the ugly truth. Days turned into weeks of chaos. Rumors spread, neighbors whispered, friends chose sides. Clara tried to console Vanessa, but her friend was broken, caught between shame and anger. Daniel, too, was lost. His career suffered as clients noticed his distraction. Sophia, realizing she was now unwanted baggage, disappeared from his life. Adrian, fearing trouble, cut ties with Vanessa completely. Both Daniel and Vanessa were left with nothing but each other and the ruins of what they had destroyed. One night, after weeks of silence, they sat across from each other in the living room. The house felt empty, heavy with memories. Daniel finally spoke. His voice was low, cracked. "We both failed. We both betrayed. But the question is, where do we go from here?" Vanessa wiped her tears, staring into his eyes. "I don't know if we can ever go back. The trust is gone." He nodded slowly. "Maybe we can rebuild, maybe not. But we have to decide if we still want to try, or if this is the end." The silence that followed was louder than any scream. In the end, forgiveness proved too heavy. Daniel filed for separation, unable to live with the constant reminder of betrayal. Vanessa moved out, her once perfect Instagram life replaced by haunting silence. Friends who once envied them now pitied them. Their dream home stood as a monument of broken trust, a warning that perfection on the outside can hide rot within. Vanessa often stared at her reflection, wondering how one choice, one secret, spiraled into devastation. Daniel buried himself in work, haunted by memories of what they once had. Their love story ended not with a bang, but with a slow, painful unraveling. And so, the perfect couple became a cautionary tale, proof that cheating never remains hidden, and betrayal always demands its price. Don't forget to like the video, and also subscribe to the channel, so you wouldn't miss out when amazing stories like this drops. Stay cheesed up.